Once again, thank you if you came in late. Thanks for being here. Matt, Alex, Dr. KK, I don't know if you noticed, but my Zoom says we got 46 participants in here, and that's very exciting. If we give one person one idea, or if you, someone else in the audience or in the chat gives one person one idea, I mean, how many people is that going to positively impact everybody that they interact with? So it's very exciting. So again, it's my turn to tell a little bit about Positrio. And we made this kind of a recurring theme of our presentation because that's why we're here. We figured the best thing we could do is tell our story, which is how we've experienced some of these things that we were actually learning about at the same time, which is kind of inception kind of deal happening there. But we were growing these high quality connections into these high quality relationships, the three of us. And I can tell you from my experience, from my side of it, what I noticed about Alex and Matt, and where I noticed it, was in the discussion posts in our class from week to week. What happened with me was the way they were saying smart things, of course, drew me, but also we started to develop little positive connections. Really, each little time we would interact with each other, something good would come out of it. I would get a better idea. I would feel better. I would experience those positive emotions, and it kept me coming back. And a lot of outcomes started to happen from that. So this is why we're here, really. And I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to share with you right now, but I'll go ahead and move on and talk about positive energy. That's my next section, and I'll try to be brief as I can. I've noticed our time right now. So, Alex and Matt gave me a lot of positive energy, but what is that? Again, let's talk specifically about the terms that we've been reading about in the research. One of the guys that's really big into this whole idea is Dr. Kim Cameron, and he's kind of a big name in this whole field. But he explains it this way. There's basically two kinds of energy. One you're probably the most familiar with. That's not the one we're going to be talking about. The one you're most familiar about is basically energy. It refers to the human capacity for action toward a goal, or the resource of potential. There are two kinds. There's activation potential energy. This depletes. This is our energy, either physical or even emotional, that it's built up and then it depletes. And so we're talking about relational energy, which is different. Relational energy is energetic stimulation energy, and that is self-enhancing. It leads to more and more of energy. So an example would be, even if you go to a football game and your team wins, you've had a great time and it's a wonderful experience. Those emotions and that physical energy has led you to need to go home and go to sleep. However, if you get home and your kid's still awake and you are going to tell your kid a bedtime story, you might have noticed, if you've ever been in that situation, that you have more energy all of a sudden to tell that bedtime story. It just feels different there for a moment. And that's because you're involved in a relational energy exchange. So again, it's the self-enhancing energetic stimulation. We give you just a fun fact about what relational energy does for us. People, and it's there in the gray, people who do not experience consistent relational energy are 4 times more likely to die at a young age. Positive relational energy is a better predictor of health than factors like obesity and excessive drinking. By the way, I got that out of Kim Cameron's book that he came out with in 2021. So that's very recent data that we're talking about. Now, why is this important in the workplace? Well, it leads to network energy. And that's the next slide I want to talk to you about. This is a tool that we're kind of hoping that you go home with, you walk away with, and you try a little more of your own. And this is going to be the next thing we ask you to do in the chat as well, to kind of give us some of your experiences, which, by the way, if you have not gone back and read some of these, here are some excellent points in the chat here that I was reading. It's incredible stuff. So network energy derives from the energy levels that combine on an organizational-wide scale. A positive energizer is a powerful influencer. Okay, so who are the positive energizers in your world? And are you one for other people? Well, how do you know? Well, if you walk away from that interaction and it was a high quality connection, then you're going to feel more energized. You're going to walk feeling better than you did. You're going to find yourself drawn to look for these people and avoid the people that are not positively energizing, because there's going to be a level of energy in any interaction. That's a given. It's just, do we want to make it a positive one? This is a network energy map that you're looking at right here. This is actually Matt's, because he did a great job of putting this together. It makes a lot of sense. What you'll do is, you see Matthew is in the purple, and you draw lines to people and you decide, well, is it a mostly positive interactions that I have with this person? Is it mostly negative interactions, or is it neutral? Again, this is a way to be a major influencer for the good or for the bad. You know, leadership roles are influential roles, but if they're negative energizers, they will not have as much influence as positive energizers will. Another reason this is so important is because there are also information networks. You could do an information mapping. In fact, in Cameron's book I was telling you about is one place you could look at that, where he's actually gone out and done these studies. And people who have a lot of information, but no one wants to talk to them because they're so draining, the information doesn't get shared. And so it really hurts everybody. There's a point I want to make here about what it is to be a positive energizer. It's not about just sharing positive feelings, and it's not about just being energetic. As a matter of fact, in my own life, I had a previous supervisor who was extremely peppy, very, very peppy and positive, and it drained me. It was energy depleting for me because I felt like I had to kind of get up there on that level with her every time I was around, or I was going to feel weird. Like, hey, Jordan, how are you today? And I kind of want to be like, I'm great. And then I'm like, I got to go, you know, I'm exhausted. So it doesn't have to come from an extroverted person or someone who's pretending to have a lot of energy. I want you to think about, and put in the chat right now, think of someone who, when you walk away from them, you feel a little bit more alive. And put what, we don't need to know their name, but put what is it that they do that makes you feel just better when you walk away. And I'll read a couple in the chat as they come. Oh, definition of relational energy. Yeah. They listen. This is a great example, right? Because they're not doing anything. They're just listening. So the energy is that relational energy. Things about me. Thank you for saying they remind me of things, or they talk about, they remember things about me. Thank you so much for saying that. One of the elements of high quality connections is a sense of being known. That's very important. That is very energizing. Thank you so much for saying that. We're hoping that you walk away. I'm gonna conclude this little positive energy piece with this. We're hoping that you walk away trying to map out pick one or two people and map them out like this. Are they mostly negative, mostly positive? The whole idea is to spend more time with people who are energizing you and less time with ones who aren't. You know, change the method that you're communicating with those people.